Hi everyone, my name is Rachel Kaysen and I founded Life Story Therapies particularly to work with third culture kids, so that's adults who grew up in multiple different cultures, different countries, moving around because of their parents' career. And this brings all sorts of glorious complications to our identity, to our sense of self, and it's something that really keeps showing up in our lives throughout into adulthood, because it's sort of these grounded experiences as we are developing our sense of who we are, who the world is, and where we fit in with it. And it has all these repercussions later on that's really worth spending time exploring. So that's what I do. I've got the best job in the world. I love every minute of working with TCKs and anybody who has a complicated identity story, really. And that can sometimes include people with chronic health conditions as well, because our identities massively shift when we have a chronic illness, when we're living with chronic pain. So that's who I am, that's what I do. And I wanted to just take a minute really to share with you what you would get from working with me with Life Story Therapies, what it is that I actually offer. If you've spent some time on the website, you'll have already kind of had a little poke around, see what it is that I do, see the language, the kind of language that I use when I talk about identity, when I talk about these experiences. How we can relate to ourselves and how we can grow in ourselves, how we can use our stories to do that. But I thought I'd just put a short video together and kind of talk about it too, because it gets me excited and I just want to share that with you. So the kind of primary thing that you get with any kind of therapeutic experience really is it creates that hour a week or that hour a fortnight, whatever it is that you work out with your therapist. It gives you space to express yourself without worrying that you're taking up too much space. It's your hour and it's for you, and it's a place that you can tell your story in and really make all about yourself, which of course is partly what makes a lot of us feel a bit self-conscious, maybe a bit indulgent, maybe a bit selfish doing therapy. But if we don't take that time to really take up that space, to express who we are, to work out who we are, how are we supposed to take up space out there in the big wide world effectively? How can we take up space in our relationships in a way that feels empowered, in a way that feels balanced? Working with me would give you that space to express who you are, to begin to work out who you are and how to tell your story. All of my work begins with actually a double session at the beginning, because I really want to make enough space right at the beginning of our work for you to tell me your story. All of it. The good bits, the bad bits, the ugly bits. However it is that you label your chapters. To just walk me through it. Because it's an honour to hear that, and it's interesting to hear ourselves tell our story. To hear ourselves take up that space and that place to express ourselves is so precious as we walk in any kind of therapeutic journey. So that's something that I'd offer you. Another thing you'd get with Life Story Therapies is empathy. And this is important, again, in any therapeutic work. But for third culture kids, we do have rather an odd kind of story. There are particularities about our experience that can be really difficult to communicate. And while I haven't had the particularities of your experience, I am a third culture kid. And I've shared a lot of your experiences of mobility and the impact of that mobility. And perhaps even more crucially, I'm a third culture kid who has done both moving and staying. I'm exploring mobility and stability. And I've walked the paths that a lot of you are walking. And I want to share that journey with you. I want to give you a place where You don't need to explain yourself or justify your feelings, because there's an awful lot that I get. Another thing with working with me with the Life Story Therapies is that because of my research background, I can offer a structure that supports your growth. We might think, oh, I want to work on relationships, or I want to work on this, or I want to work on that. But we don't really always know where to start. And with me, because of the number of people that I've worked with and because of my academic background and the theory around that, and because of what I've simply lived myself, I can offer a structure that helps to place your personal experience within a larger perspective, a larger context. A phrase I very often use is, "You're not the only weirdo in the room." An awful lot of our experiences can feel so isolating, but you're not alone. And perhaps even more crucially, I work from a premise that very largely our behavioural tics, the things that we have learnt how to do, how to cope, how to manage the world around us, they're not just things that we have spontaneously decided to do. They're not particular challenges to us. They're often born out of a structural experience, an experience that is shared. There are reasons why we are the way we are. And to hold that as we look at the particularities of your story can be really empowering. If there are reasons why we are the way we are, then there are reasons why we can be a different way if we choose to be. Or we can just offer ourselves so much more compassion because we make sense now. And that kind of structure in work is really important, where we don't get lost in the murkiness and the isolation of our own story, but it connects. It connects to other people's stories. And finally, one of the greatest honours of my work is that I get to witness your growth. I get to act as a helping witness to your journey. And any of us who have done any growing at all, any journeying at all, any increase in our self-awareness knows it can be a profoundly odd experience. You can get this kind of out-of-body, did I just do that? Did I just do that differently? How did it feel to do that differently? It can be very disorientating, even if it's exactly what we've set out to do. And to have an accompaniment is vital in allowing some reflection and feedback there that continues to nurture that growth and make it safe again. And that's what I do. And I'd love to do it for you. So get in touch if any of that sounds like something you want or need. You can contact me via the website. It'd be great to hear from you. Thank you.